So, with another Maroon Machine Podcast, doing it a little bit differently this week, or this time out, and got a couple of guests on. I'm joined by Tam. How you doing, Tam?
I'm good, yourself?
Brilliant, mate. And Dylan Easton as well. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good. I'm glad I could get you two boys on. Trying something a bit different for this episode, and we'll maybe put a wee twist on it to the way we do the normal episodes, but at the same time we'll sort of cover off a few of the points that we would ordinarily in a normal podcast. And we always used to kick it off with sort of a review of the last game, but it was so long ago that we'll not quite kick it off the same way. We'll just look at the season as a whole, what we got up to the break. So I suppose I'll kick it off with yourself, Tam. What do you think about this second season for Kelly, maybe compared to the first season, and how he's have started?
Personally, I think it's probably been harder for us as a team, in a sense of everybody kind of set up differently. Last year I felt like people had more of a go at us, which left them more open, and that's why there was probably more higher scores than this season. So it's been harder to break teams down, and teams have got better. People, the lower league's attracting better players, so every other team is getting stronger. But again, we've managed to grind, especially the away games, and we've only had probably the one hiccup, which has still got us to the top of the league.
It's been a bit. I mean, you look back to last season, it was a bit of a two-horse race between ourselves and Bonnie Rig, whereas this season you've got a few other teams in it. You think that makes for a wee bit a more exciting league, I suppose, and to play in?
Aye, definitely. Again, as I said, see, because it is harder and there is better players, it's a more exciting game, because you're really having to push. And at times last season it was maybe 6-0 in the 50th minute, and you want to keep pushing, but at times it becomes farcical because they end up with 11 men in their own half, and you're keeping the ball for the next 30 minutes. And it's good because you're winning the games and you're winning them by high scores, but there's no development in it. There's no pushing to need to score that goal within the last 10 minutes or need to get the win. But again, I know Dylan's on, but you've got players like Dylan and that, you can push to the last 10 minutes, and you've got match winners in the team like Higgy, Dylan, Fash, Ross Philp that will win you a game, as long as you stay within the scoreline of being close to the 3 points.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been I suppose it has been a bit of a trickier season. You've been able to see that, but for yourself, Dylan, coming out across goals has been a lot easier for you this season. How have you found playing?
Yeah, I mean that was obviously one of my main targets this season. Obviously, for last season, not scoring enough goals. I know I missed sort of half the season with a bad injury, but even when I was back, I was thankfully for Tam and stuff, and the players sort of behind me that were always getting me in the right position. But last season I wasn't sort of capitalising and getting in all the right areas and maybe not shooting as much. So I spoke to the gaffer, and it was always something I wanted to add to my game this year: more goals, more assists, and try and help the team and score as many as I can. Because last season, as I said, the positions I was getting, and I wasn't scoring enough goals. So every time I sort of got in that position this season, I've been shooting more, and thankfully they've been finding the net, and it's obviously been helping the team.
100%. I mean, you could see you've got the ability to beat a player, and sometimes you'd go to the point where you'd beat them 2 or 3 times just because you could. Whereas now, you seem to be going for the back of the net a wee bit more, and it's working, and it's getting on the score sheet a bit more. The style of play, one of the big differences has been the style of play for Kelty this season. It seems like it's been a lot more possession based with yourself, Tam, and Tidser in the central midfield, sort of controlling the pace. Do you think that's given you a wee push as well, Dylan, in terms of being able to find more opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, even last season, we sort of had ball players, like obviously Scotty Linton as well, who played on my side. He would bomb forward, so I always sort of had that option, and the defenders are always obviously wary of Scotty with his goals that he scored as well. So it gave me that space as well to get sort of an overload and stuff like that. And even this season, the gaffer's sort of he's been really brave with the fullbacks. He said it to us this season that he wants our fullbacks, bombing forward, playing high. and it gives the likes of like me, Higgy and stuff to sort of get that sort of little space inside to go and try and hurt teams. And yeah, as you say, it's the style of play that we've sort of carried on for last season. But I feel that we were playing like some lovely football. So no, it makes it easier when you've got players like Thomas that's in behind it that can feed you the balls.
See, on that, I don't think there's been a massive difference in the way we've tried to play. It looks like it because, again, I go back to, I think teams are being more cautious in a sense of how they want to play against us. So it then becomes more possession based from probably our defenders and me and Tidser. Because we've got a front four that will hurt anybody, and even when we played against the teams within League One and the Premiership and the Betfred Cup, we hurt them with the four we had up top. Yeah. So I think teams are probably right to be cautious and sit in a bit more. As we were last year, teams were trying to have a go, and they were losing 8-0 and 7 and 9-0. As we are this year, the same games are maybe only finishing 2-3-0, and that's because they're quite right within their rights to come. Sit deep and make it up to us to break them down, which I think we've handled that well enough to get the points and get over the line.
Yeah, because I exactly what you say. I feel that, as Thomas said, that the teams that were playing last season, they sort of had more of a go because they never sort of knew what to expect, and last season's like score lines were like crazy at times, so you know what to expect, so they were coming in making it difficult for us. So I think that new style that sort of the gaffer wanted to do was keep the width so we could try and stretch teams to try and create the space sort of in behind or for the sort of three behind fast. So but no, as Thomas said, that they're in their rights to come in and make it difficult for us, and we've scraped away sort of away to Gala and stuff, teams like that. So yeah, it's tough league.
No, that Gala game was one of my favourites for the season so far, because it wasn't a walk in the park, but he's played so well in that one, and you're doing a few bodies as well. I remember there was a couple of injuries not long before as well, but no, it's an interesting point, and what you say there about sort of stretching teams out and playing the wider game. I remember when Barry first came to Kelly, and it wasn't necessarily Barry that was the issue, but you see when we went and we played at a bigger park at Falkirk Stadium, or to be honest even at Ainsley Park, it was a bit tricky as soon as we were on that bigger wider pitch, whereas now there's sort of no fear when you're going to teams like that. And I suppose a big part of that is boys like yourself coming in that have got that experience at playing at the higher level.
Yep,
absolutely. And so I suppose sort of moving back to this season in particular though, what's been some of your highlights for the season? I'll kick off with yourself, Dylan. When you look at the season so far, has there been anything that stuck out?
Just obviously what Thomas said, we sort of had that one little blip against East Kilbride, but I thought we had enough chances in that game to even win the game. I think they only scored with our sort of maybe first shot or only shot on goal, which obviously came off the post. But just the way like we've kept winning games and kept sort of just playing the same sort of style of football and stuff, and yeah, just scoring goals as well. Obviously, adding more goals to my game was obviously the highlight. One of my highlights personally. But as a team, just winning games and staying at the top of the league, that was obviously our main objective towards the start of the season as well. We've got a squad that we feel that we don't really want to be playing in that league. No disrespect to the league, because there's a lot of teams that will be like pushing as well. So, but we feel that we were just same again to go and win the league, try and get out and push up to get in the SPFL. Yeah,
absolutely. And you mentioned it there, Tam mentioned it earlier about the sort of calibre of the Lowland League. What's been your thoughts on the league since you both came into it? You've obviously got experience playing all across the board in SPFL, and took that step down to come and play alongside Barry and a lot of boys that you already came in the Lowland League. What's it been? What's your thoughts on the league, especially over the last year and a half, Tam?
To be honest, I found it harder than I did even at Forfar in League One. I found it harder in a sense of it's probably because there's more a demand where you need to win. You need to win at these clubs that I've been at before, but if he didn't win, it was like next week we win. It wasn't at Kelty. We need to win the league. If we don't win a league, it's a failure. If we don't win a game, it's a failure. If we draw, it's still a failure. So for us, I think we've adapted well to the league and the different teams, because I think one week you can go from playing a team that will really go for you and make it hard, as Gala did, and the next week you can maybe go play a team that's at 11 men with deep in their half. You have to break it down. So the different styles is probably the hardest thing that I've found. Probably in the leagues above, that every team comes and they just play 11 v 11 and use the full pitch. You'll probably find, I'd reckon, maybe about 80% of the games we've played so far have been played in the opposition half. So it's tight. You need to move it quick. You need to be very patient. So I think that's the style of play that I've probably had. Dylan will be the same. That if we've had to change and play a certain way, it's probably been the kind of difference since I moved into the league. But again, it's enjoyable, and I think people are now starting to realise, probably with teams like Kelty, East Kilbride, BSC had a great cup run last season, are showing that they're not far away. The teams are not far away. It's in this league, and I think naivety is only the thing that will stop people watching our league, and the teams in the Lowland will not just be us, will not just be East Kilbride. Within the next few years, there'll be more than one or two get into League Two, and you can see how Edinburgh are doing and how Cove have done. Personally, I think that we did deserve a crack at it last year, but it wasn't to be. But I just hope this year that we get another chance to go and make that right.
No, absolutely. And we'll hear a chat about sort of the cause of the season, whether it's a second half or what we think's going to happen sort of towards the end of the pod. But sticking with sort of the season so far, you've both had a sort of bit of experience playing under Barry at different levels, and now for a year and a half at Kelty as well. What do you reckon, bearing in mind he might catch up on this, Dylan, but what do you make of his sort of progression over the last season and a half?
Dylan stays with him. He's probably he'll be in the next.
My tea on. He's got the tea on.
What do you reckon though about his progression?
No, I've obviously last thing a while ago at Clyde. Obviously it never went as well as expected. Obviously I only played, I think it was about 6 games, and then I done my ACL. So obviously coming back for that, but signing on from last season, it's just it's the same that you get for the gaff. You know, he's got that winning. He just wants to win games. He's just got that winning mentality, and I think that's why a lot of the players that are here just now signed straight away as well. Because when he picked up the phone and spoke to me about it, the way he goes forward and the way he wants to play, it was a no-brainer. But yeah, I think we know what to expect from the gaffer. He's just hungry and just wants to win games.
Yeah. What about yourself, Tam?
It's a different. It's probably different from I had previously. Jim was probably more relaxed and weird. With Barry, it did take a bit of getting used to, especially when I was on the park and he was screaming at me. I was cussing him probably for 89 minutes of the game. But you know why he's doing it. He's doing it for the right reasons. He's doing it because he wants you to get better. He wants to win. And when you think about that, that's when you get on board with it, and you know that what he's saying he's right, because he's been there, he's done it, he's proved that he knows the game, and I think that's why our team has been successful so far over the last season and a half.
I feel that. Sorry, Tam. Sorry, mate.
No, you go.
Because of the players that we've got that have played at that level, you know, that I think that's why he gets on us so much, because he knows what we're capable of doing. So even when we're having sort of off game and he goes through us, it's because he knows what we can sort of give, and I think that's the reason he goes through us as well, because we've got a squad that's fully not just 11 that play on the pitch. I mean, you could look at the bench and even boys coming back for injury, that it's all boys that have played at, you know, the top level. So I think that's the reason he gives us that extra sort of nastiness as well, just to get at us.
No, absolutely, and yeah, I think you mentioned it right there. I think people know he's a winner, and I think that's where a large chunk it comes from. What about before we just finish up on this wee bit? The only thing you can do, I suppose, as a football player at the moment is to get your 5Ks in. Something that football players are, they love to talk about, but I get the
gaffer's got
always...
his skis on.
What
can't he miss it?
What's that been like? Has he got his all competing? Is the competitiveness still there, or is it sort of battles against yourselves? Is he getting his runs in and comparing them to yours, or?
I hope no. I hope no.
I'll go on, Tam. You go, mate.
He's got his running. He's got his a certain. Every run's different, so it's not just a 5K. It's probably more related to just keeping us ticking over for a chance of when we do go back. But it's tough. Believe me, it's tough, and I'd probably find any sort of running tough. But it's good because it keeps you sane. It keeps you getting out of the house for a bit. And it's something you need to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So when we look at those runs, do you track it against each other? Do we know who the sort of battle is at the top within the team at the moment?
You don't need to worry about me there.
No, I think what it is, we're in a sort of group chat, and the gaffer will sort of forward it to Bob, and Bob will sort of put in the group chat and let us all know what sort of runs to do. And once we've completed our runs, we'll just take a screenshot of it or save it or whatnot, and just forward it to the gaffer and let them know that we've sort of done it. And we get the good old thumbs up back. So
you get that as well, Tam?
Sometimes I get happy at it.
No fast enough.
Did the goalie date? Did your missus date for you? I've had everything apart from the thumbs up, I think.
So next up, we've got to have a wee look at the team of the decade, something that we're sort of doing every week or two, firing out on the weekend. Latest one was the left mid position, and it was yourself, Dylan, that picked up that and got yourself a place in squad. So congratulations. How did that feel?
Yeah, it's good to obviously get noticed and to get people to vote for me. But it was nothing I sort of expected. We had seen obviously people speaking about the players that were obviously else that were in it, that had played for the club for numerous amount of years, and I've only been there for sort of a year and a bit. So to get picked from people recognising me just in that short space of time, it means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, it's one of those where because you're right, there was a few boys, and it was a wee bit of difference in the players that went. Some of the boys for the Super League, some of the boys for the new team, and in between as well. So it's still a massive achievement, because the club's had a huge following for a lot of years, for many years. So yeah, well done for that. And I suppose I just want to get your thoughts on sort of who you think about, or what you think about the rest of the team that's in there. There's obviously some that you'll be familiar with, in the likes of Linton, he picked up left back. Flem, who's spent a wee bit of time in the SPFL as well, you might be familiar with. And then there's a few boys that have just been characters across football, in the likes of Murray, Tam Courts and Gaz Layton as well, that have picked up notches. What do you make of that team as the way it's shaping up?
I'll go with Murray Castells first. He's been playing at the rank level all his life, and he's still at the rank level. Just through experience of who I've played with at higher levels, he could easily go up there and play. He had the technical ability, he had the football brain. The only thing he's not got is a normal brain. He was just mental, absolutely mental, and it doesn't take him much to lose the plot. And I think that's probably the only thing that's held him back. The things that he could do. But it was a pleasure to have him behind me. It was brilliant, because I knew I was always getting the ball. He was clever. He was a good defender. He just couldn't stop losing his head at the little things within the game. Even when we were winning 7 and 8-0, I could hear him fighting with the strikers. The strikers weren't even doing it. I could hear him fighting with them. And I think that's something I think that's just something that's probably held him back, and he should easily have been. So he's probably, I can understand why he's been voted in at the centre half.
Yeah, I totally agree with Thomas. Like he was one of the ones that was never blessed with the fastest pace, but he used to read the game so well, like, and he used to do a great job for us. And obviously with Thomas saying that the style that we played, we used to try and get ball and centre backs, people that could play out for the back and pass it. And he was one of the ones that from levels that
get Dougie. You hate that, won't you?
What? No, but as I was saying, it's for levels that I've sort of played it for playing up leagues above. He could easily play that level. I'm no one. Hopefully, doesn't watch this and bum himself up. But no, he was definitely a good player. Like very good player for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he had that ability where you didn't even really need a loud goalkeeper when he was in the back 3 or 4 as well, because he just kept that line in shape. And if anybody stepped at his place, he sure let him know about it. So 100%.
I tried the first week I was in. He was giving it all the big licks with me, like giving it all the shouting. So I had to put him in his place until I was at the bottom.
I'm sure that went down well.
I'm not even want to tell you the conversations I had with him when I fit my part.
Brilliant. It's good. He's a top player as well, and I think it'll be good to see how sort of the team develops as we go through the rest of the positions as well. I suppose it's a wee bit of fun, the team of the decade thing that we've been doing. Someone else I just want to have a look at, and don't worry, we're not handing out any real awards just now, but it's been a while since there's been any football. I just want to get your thoughts on who's, I suppose for the season so far, who some of the standouts have been. So if it was sort of the sportsman's dinner tomorrow, who would you be putting your money on to get the player of the year?
I would go, and I'm to know because he's there, Dylan, because Dylan's upped his game again this year. And he's shown that extra bit of quality that has won his games when we are having under the cosh. But anyway, he would be second, so I'll go for Dougie Hill, just because he's probably not the easiest in the eye, in a sense of he's no probably like most of the other players in our team that want to get on the ball and play. But he's a warrior, and 11 of them would win you a league, believe me. And I think every time he steps in the park, he's got that winning mentality that even when you're only feeling yourself, playing yourself, he'll push you on, and you're probably scared to make a mistake, which makes you play better.
He's absolutely solid. He's like, I suppose one of the reasons he's not as well. Sort of, you don't notice him as much is because it's just no nonsense. He's one of those defenders that just gets rid of the ball, and it's fantastic when there's a set piece as well, because it doesn't matter who's in front of him, how many players are in front of him. If there's a corner kick coming in, he goes right through people and right through the ball, and he's got a couple of tremendous goals as well. He's superb to watch. But you're right, he kind of quietly goes about his business, and I suppose one of the reasons he maybe isn't the most memorable is because he doesn't make any mistakes.
That's it, aye. It's no bad thing.
He's had more red cards and appearances.
I don't. I think we've done all right this season as far as the discipline goes. I think we've even picked up a red this season.
No, Dougie just gets took off as soon as he gets booked.
That's it.
That's probably how. Every time he gets booked, he just gets whipped off.
Well, we'll go with that sort of for a sort of player of the year. What about a goal of the year? Dylan, if you had to pick one out, and we've seen some belters already this season, what one do you think sticks out the most? Who would pick up that goal of the year?
God, I need to have a think.
I mean, there's been some. You've had a few yourself. There was obviously Austin's one there against Shrunra, which kind of came out of nowhere from outside the box. Higgy had the overhead kick. I think in the first game of the season.
Seems so long ago.
It does. Aye.
I would go 100%. I would say Fash. Now I think about it.
The Fash Scottish Cup one was a belter.
You must remember some of yours. What have you had, Dylan?
Mine's, I don't know. I can't mind. I think the one away to Gala was a good one.
That's right. The turn.
especially the time in the game. I think they had just scored to make it 1-1, and I think it was like 5 or 10 minutes after, and we managed to see it out to the end and sneak away that 2-1. So I think that goal, personally, would probably be one of my favourites this season. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with Thomas. I think the one that the fastest Scottish Cup was the best I've seen this season, I think, for us.
Absolutely, and I don't know if you listened to maybe not one of the games you listened back to, but we had guest commentary for Ashwin Rahman on that one as well, and he was a bit vocal, so that fast goal, it kept him quiet for a wee while, which was nice.
Even scared to watch that back, mate. That's still giving me nightmares.
Even his goal, I think Fash's goal against coming to it was, I think we played about 40 passes, and it's coming to Tidza, and he's played sort of like a first time ball in the corner, he's reversed into Fash, and he's stuck on the top. But even that goal as a team goal was that was right.
Yeah, I think there was one. I want to say that you got the assist, but I might be wrong, where you played it through to Austin as well. Or it was maybe Philp or Higgy, I can't remember. But it sort of fed it nicely through, and Fast just made one of those runs that he often sort of gets caught offside. But the timing was just perfect, and he made it around the back of the defence and slotted it away. And can't remember who it was against, but it was one of the closer games. Been a few though, but will we say we're going to go for the?
It would have been my assist. It would have been one of my passes, no doubt.
Pass? That'd have been your only pass this season.
Brilliant. What about we'll do a couple more before we move on. What if we had to give it, I don't think they do this at a sportsman's dinner, maybe someone for players only, but if we were to get to the biggest wind-up in the dressing room and on the park, who gets that one?
I'd go Higgy.
I
think Higgy's he's got in him.
He's ruined a few of my post-game interviews, like with his shout for Higgy man of the match.
The way he speaks to some of the other players on the pitch is incredible.
I think that's why me and Higgy get on so well, because we just I think we're just the same kind of person at times. But he's a great lad, but he's definitely got that wind up in him. Like,
he's got the right voice for it as well. Like, that voice will rise above anybody's accent he has.
Oh, he loves the word fat. The amount of people he's called fat that I've played against.
Twat.
Twat. Shut up, you fat twat.
Brilliant. And we'll finish the last one on a nicer note. Who's that sort of most reliable boy in the squad? The guy on and off the pitch that you can just rely on more so than anybody, I suppose.
I would go probably Tidza. No, Tidza definitely you can do that, but probably one that nobody would think is Ross Philp.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to get from him. Training, you know what you're going to get from him in a game, and you'll probably meet a nicer boy within football off the park. He's just genuinely a good guy. And again, that's another player that's probably played. Could easily play at a higher level. So I'd probably say him.
Yeah, I'm the same. I totally agree with Tam. Like, I think Roscoe, he's just, you'll get what you get for Roscoe. He's just a pure honest boy, and I think from last season, the first season I played, I never knew who he was. So I was coming into a team that I think he was the only one from them that's actually been kept on. But from last season, he was honestly unplayable. Things he used to do in games and his runs, and the amount that he used to run in games was just crazy. But I agree with Thomas. I think he's definitely most as well as Tidza, because obviously club captain as well, and the boy that he is, he's obviously right up there as well. But yeah, between them two, but I think Roscoe would nick it from me.
Next up, we've got a player v player. We can't sort of test your skills on the park, so we're going to test them a wee bit off the park with a wee bit of player knowledge here. So I've got 3 questions for each of you and a bonus point in there as well. And yeah, just how well do you know your teammate, I suppose. So I'm going to kick off with you, Tam. I've got some questions for you, okay?
Go for it.
All right, so Dylan started off his sort of pro and youth career at Levy, but where did he go after Livingston?
St Johnstone.
Is he right, Dylan? Berwick Rangers.
Oh!
I went to Berwick for I think it was about half a season before joining with St Johnstone. Yeah, that's
you
right.
Played with so many clubs. That's a horrendous question, by the way.
So many teams want me. It's hard to pick for you.
Oh, here they're no dead easy questions. Like, right. Question 2. One of your first loan spells, it was at Arbroath. How many league appearances did Dylan make at Arbroath?
I know this one.
Couldn't have been many then. Who was he in loan for?
St Johnstone.
Oh, aye, I'll go for 8.
No,
You right?
I think it was 3 or 4. I think because it was an emergency loan.
Yeah, 3.
3, yeah. Because I think the first one.
Who makes 3 appearances, man? Horrendous.
It was an emergency loan because I think the boy at St Johnstone just wanted me out. He was sick of seeing my face.
Last question. So, obviously, we've spoke about Dylan's goals this season, but last season, how many goals did he score for Kelty? All competitions.
14.
12.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Is that what it was last season?
12, aye.
What are you this season?
I'm about 12. I think I'm about 12 this season already.
Right.
And you're I suppose you're potential saving grace here. One of those goals was in a cup game, but who was it against?
Oh.
I know. I think I know this one.
Oh.
You know. I guess when Hubby done his ankle, wasn't it?
No. That was last season. Aye, it was what they call England, Solihull Moors.
No, Stirling Uni.
That was
Stirling Uni.
Cammy. You weren't even playing against Solihull Moors, were you?
Nah,
You weren't even in 18.
just as well because it wouldn't have been 1-1. I would have done what I usually do.
Oh, that was
Right,
0 out of 4.
It was still in uni because the only reason I remember it is because I'm sure it was Hubby that made a late run and he's went to keel it back to me and ended up doing his ankle.
Right. I scored that game.
And the
I hope that's not a question.
The keeper ran out, I think, try to get it, but I've just rolled it through his legs. Just was them.
Right. So you've got a score of 0 to beat here to win the first player v player. Okay, so Tam made appearances at under 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19 for the Scotland national team, but in total, how many appearances did he make for those levels? How many Scotland youth caps did he get?
Scotland? Can't be many. How's he made the Scotland team?
Remember, it was under 15 right through to under 19.
Right. I'll go about 13.
Oh,
Not be far away, by the way. Not be far
16.
away.
16.
Oh.
Wow. Don't tell Laura that, 'cause I still tell her I played for the first team.
We'll cut that bit. So, while Tam was at St Mirren, where his only loan spell, where did he go?
Oh, I seen a picture of that.
That was quite recent, that photo, by the way. It was on Twitter.
Aye, that's where I seen it. Somebody. Is it Championship?
No, there's no, hold on, there's no clues.
I'll take a guess. I'll go. Still an Albion?
You're going to kick yourself. Albion Rovers.
I knew it was something red.
The photo I'm wearing blue. I was playing against Derby though, they were wearing red.
I remember seeing it. It was recently because it was on somebody. I think it was you. Was it not you who retweeted it?
I've got dead long hair in it.
Right, last one. So Tam made the most appearances for Kelty last season, but with how many?
Oh, imagine it'd be every game. How many games in a season?
And it's all competitions, but we didn't play a full season as well. So.
32.
I'll go.
What's that again?
36.
36. Yep.
Yeah.
I suppose the only way to make this not a complete write-off, for your bonus point, he scored in one Lowland League game. Who was it against?
Oh, come on. It was an absolute raker. Away to Stirling Uni.
It was Stirling Uni.
His questions were well easier. Your questions were easier than mine.
So to close things off, sort of looking forward, everyone's up in the air at the moment about whether football will continue. The latest update that's came out has said that we've got to wait until I think the 1st of March to get another update on if football will resume or not. For argument's sake though, if we say football does resume and we get to play the league out, is there any games that sort of stand out for you that you are itching to go and play?
Yeah, personally for myself, obviously the likes of Bonnyrigg and stuff. Obviously from last season, obviously there's no fans that can come, but the game last season was unreal, and I think we obviously how close it was with the 2 years going right to the death. And I think they're up there again this season, so they were definitely one of the games that I was right looking forward to. It was always exciting, and they made it tough for us. So I think Bonnyrigg was definitely one of the games I was looking forward to. And I think the games that we had in that week, I think there was a spell just before it obviously we split up. I think we had a weeky like Bonnyrigg, East Stirling, BSC, stuff like that. So they're the games that you do look forward to. It's the so-called sort of big teams in the league that we can sort of go for it pretty much. So they would definitely be the teams that I was looking forward to playing against.
Oh, absolutely. What were you saying, Tam?
I think Dylan said we still had a lot of big games to go. A lot of teams run about us to play. But I would go for, if I'm going to pick, I'll go for BSC or East Kilbride. East Kilbride being the fact that they've beat us, so to get another crack at it would be what we were after. And BSC just because last season we played them in the cup and we played them in the league, and I think the two of them were hard games. I don't think we never beat them, so it would be good to take a game against them and hopefully get our own back and points wise against them.
Yep.
No, some massive games there. Bonnyrigg gets, I suppose after last season that's still fresh in everybody's mind, and it was a shoot. It was a brilliant game as well, and it wasn't an easy win by any stretch. East Kilbride was the one for me that I sort of was looking forward to, because I think it was sort of blown up a little bit that when they beat us at New Central Park, but when you go back and you watch that game, I don't think they were necessarily the better team. And there was a wee bit of luck involved in the way that it came off the post, fell right to the boy, and he was able to knock it into the back of the net. And those BSC games for last season were brilliant, just because they're quite a physical team, BSC Glasgow, which also that always gets you going as a supporter when you're playing against a sort of team that I suppose you could sort of write them up as the villains to an extent, just with the way that they sort of played. Some huge games, and I was unfortunate we never got to see that sort of run up of games just as football broke up, because I mean, you've got New Year's Day off, I suppose, was a positive, because at one point I think we were making a trip to New Dundas Park on New Year's Day, which was a bit, I don't know, what did you think about when you first saw that?
The fixtures were crazy this year, but on the other side, it would be hard enough the way they were trying to squeeze fixtures in, just with the way the leagues were. But believe me, I would rather go back and be playing on New Year's Day now to meet, if it meant that the league was going to continue and finish. So for it to they have to play around about the Christmas time. It's hard, especially when some boys are still working through the Christmas period. That is difficult, but choose to play football, you've got to do these things, ain't you?
Absolutely, and I suppose that sort of brings us on to the next one where you're saying if we got chances, what are your guys? What's sort of the ideal situation? Obviously, nobody here has got any idea what's going to happen. Nobody does. We've got to wait through until March to find out what the next steps will be. But I suppose when March comes around, this what he's hoping that a sort of outcome might be. And I know you are going to want to see football, but how would you like to see that sort of presented? What's the ideal situation?
I know, as you said, don't just say football, but I've not really looked into it. I'm just trying to keep myself ticking over, keep myself fit for when we do get that call. Hopefully we get to finish out the season, but we're obviously being put back now till March. I can't see it happening with so many games still to be played. I just don't think it's going to be finished in such a short period of time. So we just need to take it sort of as it comes, and yeah, as I say, keep doing our runs and stuff, and keep ticking over until we get that call.
It will be hard, but squeeze them in any way we can. Get the league finished.
Then again,
get your deserved champions. Get the team that deserves it, which I'm hoping would be us.
Yeah.
A good break. Get back in. Hopefully they can find a way to squeeze all the fixtures in and get a league finished. If not, then so be it. We'll need to find a way to find the champion club again. And there needs to be a playoff this time. They can't keep demolishing the playoff and not allowing clubs for the Lowland League or Highland League a chance to go up, whether that be a reconstruction, whether that be a Laura's just come in. She's trying to put me off. I think she wants some bubble. Whether that be the playoff or reconstruction, then I think we probably deserve a chance. But I would like to win it on the pitch.
Yeah, I think I suppose one of the biggies is, and I don't think it's something they're necessarily talking about, but they've continued football at Premiership and Championship, which I suppose are the big levels where, unless you get another Scotland call-up, obviously, Tam, where they need to be finished up for the Euros, whereas I suppose you don't want to play right through till the next season starts. Everybody sort of needs that break in between seasons, but there's maybe not the same. Maybe they can do something about this April, I think it's April 18th, some point in the middle of April, sort of cut off for presenting the championship. There's been talk about playing 18 games instead of 36, things like that. It can be done, and I suppose the biggie is the cop-out last season was you couldn't play football, so you couldn't have a playoff. That was why it didn't happen. We've seen that football can still happen, and albeit it's maybe not the fairest way for a team to get promoted if there was no more games and it had to go down to points per game. But and it'd be a shame for some of the other teams, for your Bonnyrigg and East Kilbride, that maybe thought they were in with a chance, and maybe were. But at least present a champion and sort of protect the integrity of that sort of pyramid system. I suppose.
I think wrong with that is it will be harsh on teams if they need to just pick a champion club. But I think if teams are sensible in it, we deserved a chance last year and we never got it. So if it comes down to that, then I think there should be a wee bit of fairness in it, in a sense of we were denied before, and that should be. But who am I to decide? I'll not get that decision. It'll be well above me. So I'm sure teams will not go down without a fight either, which is understandable.
Yeah, I think people are level of football, though. I think there will be a level of it might be frustration, but they'll want to see it happening. I think the bigger threat is going to come from above, for a team going down as opposed to a team being unhappy that we go up as such. But it's just one of those things that I suppose we've got to, same as everybody else, and wait and see if we get an opportunity. If we get that opportunity at some point, this brilliant Kelty team that we've got in place at the moment gets a chance to play some SPFL football. You boys have both played at that level. and higher. How do you think this team fits into that? We've seen plenty in the Betfred Cup and the Scottish Cup, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're more than capable. You know, I know that you say there with the Scottish Cup, but that's sort of a stage where we've shown that we can prove it. You know, especially that first half performance, and I think we're sort of cruising 2-0, and then I don't know what to talk about the second half, but I'm not sure what quite happened. But we've definitely shown that we're more than capable, and I think that stage, Stranraer were flying as well. I think they were on like 6 or 7 games unbeaten against, you know, top teams in that league, like the top half. They were beating them. So yeah, I think we're more than capable of obviously competing in that league. You know, but the difficult thing is trying to keep a hold of probably some of our players if things fall through and we end up staying in the league and stuff again as well. You know, it might be tough, but hopefully, like Thomas says, hopefully we can find a way of getting through and finishing the league properly and you know, do it right, because even though last season there was only, I think, a couple of games to go, there was still, I think Bonnyrigg still felt they were in a position where they could probably have nicked it. But yeah, I'd rather it was done properly so we could win the league and go up and actually have a proper celebration. Because last year, even though we won the league, I just didn't feel that we had won it, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because everyone was sort of it was cut short, blah blah blah. And even when we got presented the trophy, it was, you never had that feeling. So hopefully we can get back to some normality, get the season done, finish it out and win it properly and go up.
Absolutely. You got anything to add, Tam?
I think the team we've got, I don't think there's a single player in the team or squad that couldn't go and play at that higher level. Again, it's hard to say we would go and win that league, because you don't want to say that. You don't want to be naive enough to think we'd go up there and run the league, because that always comes back to bite you. So that you don't want to say comments like that, but you would like to think we would go up there and we'd hold our own and we would compete at the top end of the league. You would imagine that the manager and the board would sign players to help us with that. I would probably be in the stand every week if he signed another player. But you would think that this squad that we've got, just looking through it, that it'd be good enough to go up and hold our own and hopefully push through the leagues again.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed it's no too long till we get to see you boys back in action, and in the meantime I hope your 5Ks and your different sort of runs that you are doing work out, and I hope you do get to.
How long are you doing a 5K in, Shaun?
It's my best 23.
My best 28 or something. No far off it, by the way. I'm giving up. I used to run longer distance, and I've given up on the short again. I'm doing longer runs again, so my Saturdays are filled with. The last 3 Saturdays I've gone out for 20-mile runs, and it was, to be honest, it sounds like it, but I've got nothing else to do. It takes a big chunk of my days. Takes serious mental strength. That's what that takes.
See, for me personally, I should probably see on the pitch, I'm no one for running all the time and want to run, but see, since this has been off this break, like I feel that it's sort of helped me in a way, because running and getting myself fit, like I'm stuck in the house, bored, and I need out, and I've been running, and I've been running pretty much every day.
You're a good runner though, Dylan. You just don't like doing it. You just don't do it. You're a good runner. See, when he needs to run, he can run. It's just trying to get.
I got myself to I done a 5K a couple of weeks ago, and I got under 20 minutes. I think that's the fastest one. It's the fastest one I've ever done. Like,
but you've done brilliant.
It's brilliant, and I did.
It means I can enjoy myself, because I love to eat junk food. I love to eat junk and that. So I know if I'm going out and exercising and burning enough calories, I can come back and eat what I want.
That's it. And I think anybody who says that they like running, they're lying. Like, nobody enjoys it. Everybody hates it.
Even the 5Ks, like, you know, it's only going to be 20-25 minutes, but there's times where I'm running and I'm like, I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, how's that only been 3K? I've been running for about 3 hours. And then you're like, and you start overthinking. It's just, they're tough. I hate running. I do hate running.
When I need to use the oxygen mask, about a K in. That's when I start.
Thomas gets Laura to pick him up. I'm like, I'm done in.
the rest of it.
No,
brilliant. Think about them.
I hope they continue to go well for you. Maybe get a couple more PBs in there. But fingers crossed it's not too long in football. I want to say a huge thanks for obviously coming on and doing this. I think supporters will be chuffed to something to listen into, and we'll get these on again at some point in the future because we've got to do another one of those quizzes and see if we can be better than 188.
I was an embarrassment.
Thanks very much for coming on, boys.
Right, thanks, Shaun. Thanks for having us.